Okay. Well, thank you very much. Anyway, I'll switch this back over to. Got a little PowerPoint. Thank you for having me out. I really enjoy coming out and participating in these meetings. Can you jump that to the presentation side? Being a realtor myself and having my own residential company, I enjoy these breakfast meetings. I've gone to many of them myself, and it's always great to be in a room full of realtors. I'm here to talk to you, give a little bit of update on what's going on at CRMLS. I personally run also the compliance department, so I'm going to talk a little bit about what's going on here locally in West San Gabriel Valley with regard to some of your compliance issues. So with that, let's get started. I'm also going to give you a little update on something called Project Upstream. This is one of the large national initiatives that's going to touch many of us and how we interact with our multiple listing service. We're also going to talk about another national initiative called the Broker Public Portal. And then I'm going to give you an update on where we are with regard to our system of choice. That's the CRMLS providing to you, the brokers, the choice of what type of platform and software package for you to use as you interact with us through the MLS. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the top 5 violations. So to get started here, this is just a little coverage map. I always like to start at this spot to kind of show you where do you have access to information. Okay, the dark blue are actually CRMLS member associations just like yourself. The middle blue are those areas where we have some data shares. And the great thing about a data share is that's the opportunity where you can see the data and the listings from those areas right within your current matrix system. You can see it within the CRMLS platform. Then the very light blue, it represents our reciprocal arrangements. Now these are, you have access to the data, but it requires you to log into a completely separate system. A little bit more cumbersome, a little bit harder to deal with. Our goal is to have a nice big dark blue map, okay? And the way we're doing that is a campaign called It's My Business. I'm sure you've been exposed with Tom Berge Jr. here to this concept in our campaign. Itsmybusiness.me. I encourage you to go check that out. And like us on Facebook, and that's kind of the initiative that we're trying to do to really paint that whole map dark blue. So you can help us with that. So let's talk a little bit about Project Upstream. This is a national, basically platform for a different way and a different mechanism on how to input listings, okay? And it's really a private database system started by a number of different real estate companies, okay? And their idea is, let's put our listing into the system one time, and then let the upstream database system then push it out to all of the different locations. So is anyone in here a member of any of these entities? A RE/MAX, right? Berkshire Hathaway, Coldwell Banker, the elements of the Realty Alliance. This is coming to you. Keller Williams. Some of you may have already been exposed a little bit at your brokerage level to some of these details. So here's a little chart of kind of how it happens now, right? You're the agent there in the little red circle, and right now you sometimes may have to put your listing information in a number of different platforms. First and foremost is us, right? You input it to CRMLS through the add edit function, right, by logging into Matrix right now. Some of you may also have some broker back office. I know I was part of the RealG networks. I worked for one of those franchises, managing a couple of offices, and we always had to put every listing into a back office platform that went back east to the mother office so that we could be audited for royalty purposes and things like that. Okay. And then maybe some of you are also doing maybe some accounting programs or some other marketing elements you do where you have to, again, re-put that same information again. And then what happens is you see here that these different lines. So we as the MLS, we push your listings with your permission out to other locations, right? So if you've selected and have asked CRMLS to put your listing on the Zillow, we will put it there for you, okay? We will put it to ListHub where you can then go in and select where you want your listing to go, right? We have some marketing systems and some products that we utilize at CRMLS that give you some benefits. And so we push it out there. And so this happens at numerous locations throughout the listing's life cycle where if you see all these different jumbled lines. So the idea behind Upstream is really to make it look like this. And that would be that you would only input your listing one time into the Upstream platform, and then you would have choices within Upstream of where your listings would go. This is really one of those things that's really important to a lot of members in some other locations where they're dealing with multiple MLSs. We have some members here in California, some of the larger offices, where they're in 12 or 13 different MLSs. Who here would like to input your listing 13 different times? Okay, so we have some people who are doing that, and so this would cure that problem. And then it would also then send it to portals, and you would have permission levels at this upstream spot, so you could decide as a listing broker where your listings go and how they get distributed. So that's the idea behind the upstream project. What's CRMLS's role in that? You know, obviously being the biggest MLS in the country, you know, we've been approached by Upstream. We have a good relationship with them. We've actually invited their new CEO to actually come and give us an update at our strategic planning event, which will be happening at the end of August. So we're definitely looking to build a good relationship with Upstream. The board of directors, though, wants to participate in this Upstream project, wants to be involved in the planning and the technology of it, but they're most concerned with protecting you. And what I mean by that is we were asked to be one of the pilot projects. The challenge we had, and I personally participated in about 4 different conference calls with the technology partners. And frankly, we didn't have a comfort level that they were ready to turn your ad edit off through the MLS, which is one of the elements that would have to happen. And so we wanted to be part of the second round. We wanted basically someone else to be the guinea pig. And once they've proven the concept and that it actually works, then we will probably be in that second round of testing with some of our brokerage firms. So it's definitely an initiative that CRMLS is supportive of, so long it works for you at the broker level, and that's kind of how our contact is with that. So as far as timelines, this is the original, one of the original timelines they pushed out. Their hope was to be in beta right now. They're just starting alpha. What that means in technology speak is alpha testing is where you create fake accounts and see if your system works. Beta testing is you get a couple of people who actually volunteer and try it out themselves. So right now they're testing the system to see if it works. And then probably in the 4th quarter, they'll be doing some beta testing. About this time next year, there will probably be an up and functioning Upstream platform. So again, those of you that are part of some of those larger franchises may be starting to see more information about Upstream over the next 6 to 8 months. Okay. So with that, the next large national movement is really the Broker Public Portal. And the Broker Public Portal is an initiative by many of the same companies that are part of Upstream. And the idea here was that we as listing brokers should have the opportunity to control where our listings go as far as public displaying websites. And that if a lead comes from that website, it should go back to the listing broker. That's the idea behind the Broker Public Portal. And so the concept here is on a national basis for all of the various MLSs to send their listings to the Broker Public Portal. And there will be a lead capture system, but all those leads will go back to the listing broker or to the listing agent. Okay? It's at its starting phase right now. They just announced a partnership with HomeSnap, and they're going to focus on mobile first. So instead of coming out with a big website and trying to compete with the Zillows and the Realtor.coms of the world, they're going to actually lead with a mobile product first. And I think that might actually be a pretty good idea. Again, CRMLS is a participant in the Broker Public Portal, at least at these early phases. It's been easy to be a participant because it really hasn't cost us very much to play. We're going to get up to the point soon, though, where they're going to start giving us some numbers and what is it going to cost for CRMLS and our members to be part of this initiative. And at that point, the board of directors will have to make some decisions. Is that an investment that's worth taking as far as getting listings out there in the public domain? So the big challenges with the Broker Public Portal is, are the consumers really ready in the space to have a new player? You know, are they looking for a new place to find listings? The thing that's going to set the Broker Public Portal apart is you're not going to have the three-headed monster, right? They're not going to sell advertising, right? So the concept here is that it's going to be supported by the brokerage community and tailored only to the brokerage community, and we'll see if that actually, takes off or not. So we're definitely involved with that. So the next big thing that's happening at CRMLS that's really going to impact you on an individual level is our front end of choice. Now, who here has been kind of watching this? Are you guys aware of what the front end of choice is? Okay. This is a great element to give you options on how you do business. So right now, when I saw a lot of our flyers up there right from the Matrix platform. So we're all very comfortable and familiar with the Matrix platform. We are going to be rolling out, and we already have contracts and working on the technology side, to deliver Paragon, okay, from Black Knight. It's another what we call front end. What a front end is, it's the computer program that you go into to interact with the MLS. The data, the listings, and the information is identical. Whether you're on Matrix or on Paragon, you're looking at the same information. What's different is how that information is displayed and how you interact with that information, how you conduct your search, okay, how you save searches. All of these elements can be different between the different platforms. Paragon is a pretty widely used program. Anyone here familiar with Paragon or come from another association, right? So a great thing about what we like about this is, I'm going to say it, I'm a capitalist at heart. I like competition. Okay, so sometimes what happens in this MLS field is you sign a good contract with a vendor, and they're very happy that they just signed a multi-year contract with you, but sometimes the innovation doesn't continue. So you will actually have a choice to decide what platform you want to be on. So it's going to force these vendors to continue to improve the product because they have to compete for you to sign up with their platform directly against another competitor. So that should really bring more innovation even to the Matrix platform. And so this is going to be rolling out probably in the October to November timeframe. And you'll have the opportunity first at the broker level to decide brokers. You're first going to decide whether you want to give your agents the opportunity to switch back and forth between platforms. And if your broker decides that's a feature they want to give you as an agent, then at the agent level, you will have a dashboard and you can actually make a selection on which of the two MLS platforms you want to be on. And you will be able to go back and forth. So you'll be able to try it out, see what it's like. If you don't like it and want to go back to Matrix, you'll be able to do that. By the time we get to second quarter 2017, it will be a full featured set. And what I mean by that is we're going to transfer over your saved searches, your contact lists, your carts, okay? So that as you switch from one platform to the other, all the work that you've done historically will actually come over with you into the new platform. And so we're going to be starting to roll some training out probably in the September, early October timeframe. So we'll be looking for that. It's a very exciting innovation. Yeah.
You mean Matrix doesn't have an exclusivity contract in there?
They don't now. Yeah, trust me, there's some very artful negotiating with our board of directors and Tom being part of that, and then Art Carter, and the team that even preceded my coming. This was years in the making contractually. And it's a very, very good result for you. Because what I expect to see now is that Matrix will get a lot better. Because if Matrix doesn't improve and doesn't answer the questions and develop and deliver the products as you want to see it, then you're going to go to Paragon. And then we're not going to have to pay Matrix for you being on Paragon, right? So we've created this great situation where there's open competition for the same person, which is you. And so you're the ones who are going to benefit from this in the upcoming couple of years. So I definitely think it's something worth, keep your eyes open on the communications that come from CRMLS with regard to this. We'll be having some training that'll happen, and definitely give Paragon a chance. And by the way this has been set up on the technology side, and it's a lot of forward thinking by our technology team, Rob Larson and Art, to look forward into this element. We're not limited to only these two. Okay, so we're looking at negotiating with other vendors in this platform to bring out other types of front ends. And the goal really would maybe to have maybe 4 or 5 different front ends for you to choose from. And that way, we all practice real estate a little bit differently, right? I used to work with a lot of investors, so I love Matrix. because I do very complicated searches, and you're able to do that in Matrix. But maybe a newer realtor who's just getting into the business needs to do something very simple, very basic, and they don't want to learn all the details of a more robust system. We want to be able to deliver a product, something like Cloud MLS, which is, we're working with them maybe to become another front end. And that's, Cloud MLS is another, right now it's in a retail space. I believe it's like $30 a month for you to have that. It's a very intuitive, almost like a Facebook fronting type of way to access information. It's, I think, the wave of the future. And so it lets CRMLS be on the front of the technology lines to be able to deliver information to you in many different ways. So really excited about that front end of choice. Want to take a little bit of time to talk about compliance and what we do in the compliance department. So I have the privilege of heading the compliance department. And in compliance, usually people think, oh, we just, we're the draconian guys out there that just enforce the rules. But we take our job seriously because it protects you. And it does two really important things, right? Number one, who likes to get paid at the end of a closing? Right? We all kind of like that, right? So remember that our rule set are actually the contract that exists between you so you get paid, right? So we want to make sure that the individuals who are putting listings in the system are complying with the rules to make sure that when they say they're going to offer 2.5%, you actually end up with 2.5% or 3% or 25%, whatever number you can get out of them, right? And so that's an important aspect of keeping that opportunity and enforcing those contracts. The other thing is accuracy of information, right? What's the worst thing that happens when you're sitting at someone's kitchen table and you're walking through the great CMA you put together, and you're talking about the properties that have closed, and you talk about the house across the street that's a model match that sold 2 months ago, and you say it sold for $829,000, and your client looks at you and goes, oh no, I knew the guy. They sold that for $859,000. Right? That's not a comfortable situation for you to be in. Right? So what we do in the compliance department is we want to make sure that the data that's in the MLS that you use on a daily basis is accurate. And it's our job to make sure that's accurate. And that's why we send out those notices, for you to make sure that what you're representing in the MLS is actually an accurate reflection of the transaction that's being involved and being offered for sale in the property. Okay? So with that, this is specific to your association. These are our June numbers. And the number one violation that we see happens the most out here is inaccurate information. And it's by a wide margin, right? I mean, it's 3 times the next rule, right? So I'm going to focus mainly on what is inaccurate information. The biggest violation issues on inaccurate information are a wrong sale price or wrong information with regard to dates. Okay, those are really the big two. And then the next layer under that would be things like wrong bedrooms, wrong bathrooms, wrong square footage, anything that basically is not a true reflection of the property. So how do we find out about this? We found out by you. So if you go scroll to the bottom of any listing, you'll see in that bright blue at the bottom, if you think there's a problem with this listing, click here and report a violation. We rely on you to tell us that. So when you go to a home that says 4 bedrooms, and you walk in and there's only 2, right? That's not a fun place to be in with your buyer. How good do you look that they have to have a 4-bedroom home, and you walk in and there's only 2, right? So it's important for you to then let us know about that, and we will then send letters and use our disciplinary techniques. That's a nice way of saying we're gonna fine you and it's gonna cost you some money, to make sure that that information is accurate, okay? Also, when you're reporting sales prices, please report the proper price. We check. So I have a computer system that looks at the price you put in the MLS, and then it looks at what you reported to the county assessor's office. And if those two don't match, you're going to get a letter from my department. And I'm going to ask for the closing statement. Okay, and we're going to evaluate your contracts, right? So make sure that that information is accurate. It matters when you guys go out and do a CMA and make recommendations to buyers of what to do, okay? So this is a part where an MLS is a cooperative, meaning we work together. And this is good for all of us to take the time to make sure that information is accurate. Okay. The next most common violation is late entry of listing. So after your listing agreement begins, how much time do you have until you're supposed to put that listing into the MLS?
48 hours.
Okay, right? It's actually 2 business days. The reason it's 2 business days instead of a straight 48 hours is it's to accommodate those brokerages who want the brokers to input the listing instead of each individual agent. And so you don't want to force them to have to do work on a Sunday if their office is closed. So it's actually 2 business days, right? To either list the property in the MLS or to file a waiver form, okay? We're doing some modifications to the waiver form process right now. And the big modification is we're going to be doing a CRMLS specific waiver form. So you're not going to be required to use just the SCLM, which is the CAR form. And in the new form that we're developing, we're going to have a couple of additional categories for you to consider. And those categories are if you're going to keep the property off the market so that you can do some repair work or get it ready for showings, and you promise to do no marketing, and marketing will be defined in the form, so everyone will know what marketing is and what it is not. We will not count the days on market against you if you keep it off, if you do no marketing during that waiver period. So it's going to open up a little bit more freedom, a little bit more opportunity to be more consistent with how we're seeing the brokerage firms do business, okay? So we're excited about that change, and some of those elements are coming up to the board on our next meeting. So the rest of these are pretty self-explanatory. We have a lot of information at the CRMLS.org website. Go to the bottom, we have a knowledge base there, and it talks about these rules and how to get, and you can get access. Now, I'll ask this question: how many of you read the rules front to back? Yeah, okay. Tom, thanks Tom, appreciate it. One, and that's about all, and I don't really expect you to be frank. Most of those rules, you're not really that concerned with, you're just doing your business. But it is a good idea maybe once a year to get in there and take a look at our reference guide. That's a short, like 6-page document, and it kind of highlights some of the details of the most violated rules, okay? So I would certainly encourage you to go take a look at that reference guide. Yeah?
Is it still true that the photo must be of the front of the house?
Okay, so here's the rule on photos. Excellent question. The question was, is it true that the photo has to be the front? It's actually kind of a 2-part question. There's 2 rules at play in here. One rule is you must have a photo in the MLS within 5 days, okay? The second rule is you must have a photo of the exterior of the property. This is for purposes of a lot of appraisers use our system in valuation issues. It is not the rule that the front picture has to be the primary or the first. Okay, so if you have a fantastic view at the back of your property, and that's what you want to highlight for your marketing purpose, feel free to put that as the front one in the MLS. But you need to make sure that somewhere in your 75 pictures that we allow you to upload, which is the limit, somewhere in that 75, you need to make sure you get some exterior picture of the property. Okay? Or you'll get a nice little letter from us. And keep in mind, those letters are friendly, right? Our goal is to get you to put the accurate information in. I just ran the stats last week, and we only send out fines on about 4.2% of the reported violations. So the vast majority of the time, we're able to handle it through a courtesy notice and just getting the information out without having to actually go to a fine. We usually end up having to fine those members because of a lot of repeat problems. And with that, I'll go ahead and open up any other questions I could. Great. Well, again, I thank you for the opportunity to come out and share with you today, and I'll be hanging around a little bit afterwards if someone has an individual question on something. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ed.